There's something sacred about people who care for others. Nurses, doctors, caregivers, they carry a light most don't even see in themselves. But here's the thing no one really talks about. You're not just caring for bodies, you're healing souls. That's right. The tenderness you show, the compassion you pour out, and the faith you cling to when exhaustion hits, those aren't ordinary acts. They're spiritual gifts, direct signs that you've been chosen by God for a divine purpose far greater than the world can measure. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I'm just doing my job. No, you're walking in God's plan, even when it feels like chaos. You see, what looks like burnout might actually be the beginning of a spiritual awakening. The fatigue, the endless shifts, the tears behind the mask, they're not just struggles. They're training grounds for your calling. And that calling isn't just about healthcare. It's about healing energy, faith, and finding your purpose right in the middle of the hospital corridor. So, if you've ever felt unseen, overlooked, or drained by the very thing you thought you were meant to do, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll see that you're not only a caregiver, you're a healer with a divine mission. A mission guided by God's signs, rooted in Christian motivation, and strengthened by spiritual meaning that transforms not just patients' lives, but your own. Realizing you're more than a caregiver. Most caregivers, nurses, and doctors think they're just doing what needs to be done, giving meds, changing dressings, comforting families. But deep down, there's a spiritual calling woven into every act of compassion. When someone's in pain and you instinctively reach out, that's not just empathy, that's healing energy flowing through you. It's one of those gifted signs you're chosen by God, even if you don't see it yet. And the truth is, not everyone can do what you do with the same heart. You're not just in healthcare, you're in God's ministry of care. Think about it. How often have you seen someone's eyes soften, their breathing calm, or their spirit lift just because you were there? That's spiritual medicine, not just physical care. When you hold a hand in silence, when you whisper a prayer under your breath, or when you choose patience over frustration, you're partnering with God's plan for that person's emotional healing. The world may call it bedside manner, but heaven calls it divine purpose in nursing. The moment you realize your work is sacred, everything changes. The exhaustion doesn't disappear, but it transforms into purpose-driven energy. You start seeing every interaction as a chance for inner healing. For your patients, yes, but also for yourself. And once you understand that this is part of your spiritual journey, you begin to notice little signs from God confirming your calling. But here's the beautiful twist. Recognizing your purpose is just the beginning. The real awakening starts when you learn how to nurture that divine energy within you. Recognizing the signs of a divine calling. Sometimes, God's calling doesn't come with a loud voice or a burning bush moment. It comes in whispers, through exhaustion, empathy, and those uncanny moments where you say, I don't know how I did it, but something greater took over. That's not coincidence. That's faith in action. Those are spiritual gifts being activated in the middle of a shift, when you least expect it. Whether you're a nurse staying late to comfort a frightened patient, or a doctor offering hope when medicine has no answers, you're responding to God's plan without even realizing it. It's easy to miss those signs you're gifted, especially when burnout hits hard. You might feel drained, unappreciated, or even question if you're still on the right path. But often, that restlessness is a sign of spiritual awakening, God stirring something new inside you. Think about the times when a patient thanked you and said, "You were an angel today." That's no exaggeration. Sometimes God uses healthcare workers as his hands, bringing comfort, healing, and faith to those who've lost theirs. So, if you've been feeling like your work is losing meaning, pause, reflect. Because those moments of emptiness are often where divine purpose is reborn. It's God's gentle reminder that you're not just in healthcare, you're in the business of miracles. The challenge is learning how to keep that spiritual flame burning, even when the world around you feels cold. And that's where the next step of this journey begins, understanding how to protect your spirit and recover your faith while you heal others. Healing others without losing yourself. Here's the paradox few talk about. Caregivers are amazing at pouring out love, but terrible at refilling their own cup. They give and give until they're running on fumes, and then wonder why they feel empty inside. That's not weakness. It's a signal from God to slow down and listen. Even Jesus took time to rest, pray, and recharge before healing again. So if you're a nurse, doctor, or caregiver feeling burnout, it's not the end of your strength. It's the beginning of your recovery and inner healing. Think of it like this. Every healer needs healing too. You can't pour from an empty vessel. Simple practices like taking 5 minutes of quiet prayer before your shift, journaling signs of God's presence during tough days, or listening to faith-based motivation podcasts on your drive home can restore your spiritual energy. And it's not selfish. It's survival for your soul. When you nurture your own spiritual awakening, you show others that caring for oneself is part of God's purpose too. True healing energy doesn't come from non-stop hustle. It flows from balance, faith, rest, and connection. It's about learning to see yourself as one of your own patients sometimes, deserving of care and compassion. Because when your heart is full, your presence becomes medicine for others. And as that strength returns, something incredible starts to happen. You begin to see your work not just as service, but as worship. And that realization opens the door to something even deeper. Turning your work into worship. When you start seeing your daily routine as an act of faith, everything changes. Charting patient notes, holding someone's hand, or comforting a grieving family stops being just part of the job. It becomes an offering, a living prayer. Every heartbeat you stabilize, every tear you wipe away, is part of God's calling in your life. That's what it means to live a purpose-driven life in healthcare. You're no longer just showing up to work. You're showing up for God's plan to flow through you. Picture this. You walk into your shift not just as a nurse or caregiver, but as a healer with divine purpose. You carry spiritual meaning into a world that often feels mechanical and rushed. When your faith and work align, miracles start to happen quietly. A patient finds hope again. A coworker feels encouraged. A family feels seen. That's God in medicine. Subtle, steady, powerful. And the best part? You don't have to preach it. You live it. Your compassion becomes your testimony. This shift in mindset doesn't require new degrees or special titles. It starts with intention. Whisper a short prayer before entering a patient's room. Ask God to make you his instrument of emotional healing that day. Even small acts like that turn a sterile hospital corridor into sacred ground. Because once you start living your calling this way, something extraordinary unfolds. Your spirit awakens to a new level of strength and purpose, preparing you for the ultimate realization of your divine calling. Embracing your role as God's healer. There comes a moment in every caregiver's journey when they finally see it. This isn't just a career, it's a spiritual journey. You were never meant to just get through the day. You were meant to shine God's light in places that desperately need it. When you walk into a hospital room, you bring hope, faith, and healing energy with you. You carry signs from God in your presence, proof that divine love can show up in scrubs with a stethoscope or even through tired eyes behind a mask. This realization changes how you see everything. The long hours, the exhaustion, even the heartbreak, they start to make sense when viewed through God's purpose. You understand that every challenge is shaping your spirit, every patient is part of your calling in life, and every act of compassion echoes in eternity. You're not just helping people recover, you're helping them reconnect with their faith, their hope, and sometimes even their will to live. That's Christian inspiration in action. And when you finally embrace that, when you own your identity as a healer chosen by God, you become unstoppable. Your faith in healthcare becomes a beacon for others who've lost theirs. You become the reason someone believes again, not just in medicine, but in miracles. And as you continue walking this purpose-driven life, something even more beautiful begins. Your own soul starts to heal in ways you never imagined, drawing you closer to the one who called you to this sacred work in the first place. So now that you see it, that you're not just a caregiver but a healer with a divine purpose, what will you do with it? Will you walk into work tomorrow with the same mindset? Or will you step in knowing that God's calling flows through every action you take? Because the truth is, your presence has power. You bring faith, healing energy and hope into places that medicine alone can't reach. You are proof that God's plan lives and breathes through compassionate care. Ask yourself, what would happen if you started treating every shift like a mission field? How would your heart feel if you trusted that your spiritual gifts aren't random but intentional? You've seen miracles, some big, some small, and deep down, you know there's spiritual meaning in every single one. Maybe this is your reminder that God's signs are already all around you. All you have to do is open your eyes and your heart. If this message spoke to your spirit, if you felt that inner nudge reminding you that your work is holy, then don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay connected. Because this journey of faith and work, of healing and purpose, is just beginning. Together, we'll keep discovering how to live out your calling in life with strength, joy, and divine fire.